Hey, in this video, I'm going to show you how to do SEO even if you're a beginner, and you're gonna learn 7 proven SEO tips that any beginner can have success with. So if you wanna rank #1 on Google and get more organic search traffic, then please keep watching. Also, tip number 4 is the most important concept for an SEO beginner to understand, so make sure you watch this entire free training. Let's jump right in. So before we get started, make sure you subscribe to this channel because you'll get notified whenever I publish new videos just like this. So the first SEO beginner tip is to perform an SEO audit. And don't worry, auditing a site doesn't require super technical skills. In fact, you can complete a professional SEO audit using nothing but free tools. So the question is, why should you even do an SEO audit in the first place? Well, the reason is because it will uncover all issues that may be holding your SEO performance back. Think of it this way. You can create content all day, acquire tons of backlinks, but if your website is on a shaky foundation, you won't see the results you really want. So you have to understand that getting consistent SEO results requires an all-encompassing approach. And in other words, you need to have all the pieces in place or your website won't reach its full SEO potential. So the question is, what are you looking for when you actually do an SEO audit? Well, I like to break the process down into 6 primary categories. Number 1 is technical. Number 2 is user experience, also known as UX. Number 3 is content. Number 4 is backlinks. Number 5 is local. And number 6 is reputation. Pretty much every facet of SEO will fall under one or many of these categories. Now, I can't cover every microscopic detail of an SEO audit, but you can uncover 99.9% of issues using the following tools. Number 1 is Screaming Frog SEO Spider. You can use this tool for free, but I highly recommend upgrading to the paid version because it's so incredibly powerful. And to get the most out of Screaming Frog SEO Spider, I recommend integrating both Google Analytics and the Ahrefs API. This is really powerful because you'll be able to see the key performance indicators of each individual page on your site. And more importantly, you'll be able to see how many backlinks each page has and how much traffic each page is receiving. This is critical information when you're performing a content audit. So here's how you do it. Open up Screaming Frog SEO Spider, make sure you have the URL copied. And then what you want to do is over here on the right-hand side under API, and it'll probably look like this initially, go ahead and click on API, and then we're going to actually connect the Google Analytics to Screaming Frog. And this is super important. So let's go ahead and do that. So as you can see here, you'll be able to choose the accounts that you have. And so in this case, we want to do story track. And we want the segment to be organic traffic because that's going to be how we determine whether these pages are worth keeping or not. So the next thing you want to do is, depending on whether you're using Majestic or Ahrefs or even Moz, you're going to want to connect whichever one you have. So in this case, I'm going to use Ahrefs. So once you click the gear icon, it's going to take you to this little pop-up window. And what you want to do is just click connect, and then it shows that it's connected and we're good to go. So now at this point, Screaming Frog is going to crawl the entire site, and it's also going to pull all the data from Google Analytics and Ahrefs for every single URL on their website. So once you have prepared the APIs, just go ahead and click start. Okay, so the analysis is complete. And so when it's done, what you can do is you can actually just do a full analysis just from this internal tab, but it's a lot easier if you export, and then you'll be able to get an Excel file. And then you'll be able to actually filter things and be able to sort things a lot easier. Okay, so I'm in the Excel file, and obviously this looks very overwhelming, and a lot of this really isn't important. So what you want to do is, first we want to go ahead and add a filter to this. So just click the filter option. So then what we want to do is we want to delete some columns that are not necessary for the content audit. So now what we want to do is go ahead and start with the indexability column. And basically what we want to do is we want to see if there are pages that are indexed that shouldn't be indexed, or pages that are not indexed that should be indexed. And so the best way to do that is we'll just go ahead and use this filter, and we'll start with the non-indexable because usually that's where some issues come into play. And we'll only focus on text HTML because these are really the pages that are most important. This is where we're going to do a lot of content pruning. All right, so now this is the super fun part because we get to look at each individual page and determine whether we should keep these pages or we should do something with them if they're not up to the standards that we're looking for. So there are a few things we're going to be looking at. First, we're going to look at the total organic search traffic to each page. We're going to look at the total amount of backlinks going to these pages. And then we're also going to look at the word count for these pages. And so those three things, if you can just look at those three factors, you're going to pretty much be able to determine whether pages should continue to exist or have to be deleted, 404'd, or even redirected. And then also the other big thing we're looking for in a content audit is if there are keyword cannibalization issues. And just looking at this right now, without even scrolling, I can tell there's just a lot of content here, a lot of pages. And so there's a very high probability that there is some keyword cannibalization going on here. And so we will dive deep into this and I'll show you whether that is happening or not. So if you want to learn how to do a professional SEO audit, then I highly recommend checking out my extensive SEO audit template and step-by-step SOP. I'll have a link below this video. So the second tip is a mistake that many SEO beginners make, and that's creating tons of thin content targeting the same or similar keyword phrases. And this is what leads to keyword cannibalization and generally makes your SEO campaign harder than it needs to be. And that's also when the cake technique comes into play. In short, the cake technique is the process of consolidating similar content assets into a single mother asset. So going through this process has a wide array of benefits, such as number one, increased word count. Consolidating assets will naturally increase your word count, which often is correlated to better rankings. Number two is deeper content. Spreading your knowledge across multiple posts usually produces thin content. So consolidating your assets produces the opposite effect. Number three is it eliminates keyword cannibalization issues. Keyword cannibalization, when two or more pages target very similar keywords, forces Google to choose which one is best. So why would you even want to take that risk? It's much better just to consolidate similar assets to eliminate this possibility altogether. Number four is it consolidates authority. You'll be 301 redirecting your other assets, which means your mother asset will inherit all the existing backlinks, and that will turn your mother asset into an authoritative powerhouse. Number five is it actually makes content promotion easier. It's easier to acquire backlinks to and to promote a single content asset. Plus, people are more likely to link to a super valuable and in-depth resource than a thin content asset. So here are the steps to executing the cake technique. First, identify content assets that are targeting the same or closely related keywords. Second, decide what content asset is going to be your mother asset. Third, map out how you're going to combine these content assets into a single piece of content. Fourth, consolidate the content. Fifth, 301 redirect all the supporting assets to the mother asset. And sixth, annotate your actions in Google Analytics to measure the performance of your new asset. And I've used this exact technique with many clients and even on Gotcha SEO when I consolidated a few different assets around the topic of backlinks. I had individual blog posts on what is a high quality backlink, how to build tier 1 backlinks, how to build tier 2 backlinks, how to build tier 3 backlinks, and how to earn backlinks. And this was borderline keyword cannibalization. So I decided to consolidate them into a single asset, which became my backlinks guide. And as a result, Gotcha SEO currently floats around number 1 for backlinks, and we've grown this page's organic search traffic by almost 300% since 2016. So the third SEO beginner tip is to choose the right keywords. So here's a funny fact about keyword research. Anyone can find keywords, but it takes skill to know what keywords to actually target. So how do you know what keywords are worth going after? Well, the most basic rule is that you should only target keywords that your website is actually capable of ranking for. So one of the fastest ways to do this is to use Ahrefs' keyword difficulty tool. Here's how you do it. Copy a keyword you want to rank for and open up Ahrefs and click on the Keyword Explorer option. And Ahrefs will then show you what they believe is the keyword difficulty for your target phrase. They make this estimation based on how many links you'll need to rank. And the good news is that you can beat your competitors on many other fronts, not including links, but it's still a good 30,000 foot metric to help you weed out keywords that are probably going to be too hard and expensive to rank for. So after a keyword passes the first qualification stage, it's time for the second level of keyword qualification. And I call this the 10-second competitor analysis. In my opinion, this is one of the fastest ways to prioritize a huge list of keywords. So here's what you do. First, download the Ahrefs or Moz toolbar, and then go to Google and enter one of your prospective keywords. Now, all you need to do is scan the results and look for positive or negative signs. And here are some good signs you want to look for. Number one, there are low authority websites. Any page ranking with a DA or DR lower than 50 is a good sign. Number two is there are YouTube videos, and this is another good sign because YouTube pages usually aren't content rich, but that's not all. The other awesome thing when you see this happen is that not only can you rank in Google's organic search, but you can also rank in YouTube search, which means you'll actually get 2 listings for that target keyword, and that means even more exposure for your brand and your website. Number 3 is there are subdomains. Web 2.0s are usually low quality and very easy to beat. Number 4 is there are forum or Quora threads. These pages can be content rich, but the information is unorganized. I consider this a good sign when I see these results. Number 5 is there are press releases, ezine articles, eHow articles, hub pages, etc. Any general article website or press release website is a good sign. Number 6 is there are limited SERP features. So less SERP features means more SERP click-through rate for you in most cases. Number 7 is there are Google ads. If advertisers are willing to invest money in your prospective keyword, you know it has value. So now those are all the good signs, but here are some of the bad signs you want to look for. Number 1, there are super authoritative websites. If all the ranking pages are authoritative with DA or DR 70+, then it's a bad sign. And this isn't to say that you can't beat authoritative websites, it's just much harder and costly, and it will likely take longer. Number 2 is there are excessive SERP features. As I mentioned above, your CTR will decrease if Google is serving many SERP features. Now, it's possible for your website to get into these SERP features, but it isn't as predictable as traditional organic search rankings. Now, what do you do if this keyword doesn't pass the initial test? Well, don't delete the keyword from your list, just push it down the priority list because you could target it in the future when your website becomes more authoritative. I recommend going through this process until you have 5 to 10 well-qualified keyword targets. And after you have 5 to 10 keywords that have passed the 10-second analysis, it's time to gather data to see what you're truly up against. Now, this stage of the process will give you the intel you need to understand what it will actually take to beat your competitors for your target keyword. So here's what you do. Select one of your keywords and open up Ahrefs and click on the Keyword Explorer tool. Then scroll down and export the results. Open up the sheet I've provided, and now you'll begin entering data and intel about these competitors. So while analyzing the competitors on a one-to-one basis may be helpful, the goal here is to gather averages and then use that as our guiding light. So with that said, add the URL, backlinks, referring domains, and domain rating information from the Ahrefs export. And the next part of the process is time-consuming but definitely worth it. Copy the first URL and open up wordcounter.net. Then enter the URL and copy the word count and add it to the words column. The next step is to get the page loading speed for each of your competitors. Now, this step isn't totally necessary, but it helps identify weaknesses in your competitors. So just copy your competitor's URL and open up Pingdom, and then copy the site speed and add it to the speed column. The next column, page type, requires a manual analysis. So there are only a few different types of options in this case. It's going to be a home page, category page, product page, blog post, or other. And this is super important because we'll want to model the page type that Google is showing for the target keyword. And the final stage of this process is to gather metrics for your page if you've already attempted to rank for this keyword. Now, the beauty of gathering metrics like this is that it gives you clear targets. For example, you'll know approximately how many backlinks you'll need to compete for this keyword phrase. And of course, not all backlinks are created equally, but it still gives you a target to aim for. So that's all you need to know about finding and qualifying keywords. So the fourth SEO beginner tip is to understand search intent. Now, I believe that understanding how to satisfy search intent is a fundamental SEO skill. In fact, you could have Stephen King write an article for you and it still wouldn't rank if you don't properly satisfy search intent. That's how important it is. Not only that, what you're about to learn will dispel the generic advice that every page you want to rank in Google needs at least 1,800 words. Slapping 1,800 words on a page isn't how you rank in Google. In fact, a page with a high word count is practically worthless if it doesn't satisfy search intent. And no, it will not matter how many backlinks you get if you get search intent wrong. Now here's the good news. It's easy to figure out how to satisfy search intent. The first part you need to understand are the different types of search intent. So here are the primary categories of search intent. The first type of search intent are going to be informational queries. So all informational search queries are usually at the top of the funnel. Some examples include what is SEO or how do you build backlinks? Searchers at this stage of the funnel are probably not ready to buy. So that's why you need to create educational-based content that satisfies this type of intent. The second type of intent are for comparison queries. Searchers at this stage are deeper into the funnel and they're trying to figure out what solution they want to choose. So an example would be Nike shoes versus Adidas shoes. The third type of intent is transactional, which means the searcher is at the bottom of the funnel and ready to buy. And an example of a transactional search query is buy Nike baseball cleats. And the fourth type of intent is navigational, which means the searcher already knows your brand or is a customer of your brand. For example, when someone searches Gotch SEO, they already know my brand and are navigating to it. So pretty much every keyword phrase will fall under one or two of these categories. And the next thing you need to do is examine the top 10 results for your target keyword. Just ask yourself, what types of pages are ranking? Let me give you a few examples. So the first keyword example is backlinks. And in this example, you can classify it in two different search intent categories. First is problem awareness and transactional. So when someone searches backlinks, they're either A, trying to learn more about backlinks because they know how important they are to SEO, or B, they're looking to buy backlinks. So what do you do in a situation like this? All you have to do is analyze the pages that are currently ranking. If the majority of the pages are informational content, then you should take a similar approach. The second keyword example is for SEO checker. So in this example, the intent behind SEO checker will not require a long form piece of content. So why is that? It's because the searcher is clearly looking for a tool to solve their problem. Keyword example number 3 is SEO Audit Service. In this example, whoever is searching for SEO Audit Service is clearly at the buying stage. So it wouldn't make sense to try to educate this person with a super long form piece of content. So this is the main point. Analyze the competitors and see how they are fulfilling searcher intent for your target keyword and follow the same strategy, or there's a good chance your page won't rank well. So at this stage, you understand how to satisfy search intent. So the fifth SEO beginner tip is to create linkable assets. So a linkable asset is designed to attract backlinks. And the truth is, some pages just simply are not linkable, and those include category pages, product pages, local lead pages, or any page that isn't really content rich and is more transactional in nature. Now sure, with some creativity, you can definitely drive links to these pages, but it's much harder than just creating linkable assets that are information rich and content rich, because people are much more likely to link to these content assets as opposed to transactional pages. So in short, the goal of a linkable asset is to add massive value to your industry so that people who are capable of linking to you start to take notice, and then you can start to acquire links just because you added so much value. Now the challenge is that not every type of SEO content is linkable. For example, you could create a perfectly optimized homepage for a local business or a beautifully optimized page for a category page on your e-commerce website. This is necessary, but these pages likely won't attract many backlinks, and they will also be very hard to promote. So the situation I just outlined is why so many local and e-commerce businesses struggle with SEO. The truth is, they are making the process harder than it needs to be. So if you're working on a local SEO campaign or an e-commerce website, then you need to listen very carefully. You must understand the concept of a reverse silo. In short, a reverse silo is when your content asset becomes the focal point for building your website's authority. So instead of acquiring backlinks to your homepage, category, or product pages, you instead focus on acquiring backlinks to your informational content assets. This is by far the most natural and safe way to acquire backlinks because your content is likely more deserving of a backlink. In short, your goal should be to build your overall website authority through creating linkable assets. Now, just to be clear, there are other ways to acquire backlinks that don't require new content, and I'll be showing you a few, but the most scalable link building strategy you can use is to create linkable assets. So how do you actually create a linkable asset? Well, all you need to do is copy one of your qualified keywords, throw it into Ahrefs Keyword Explorer, and see if your competitors' pages have attracted backlinks. If so, you know that your target keyword is a linkable idea. Now, keep in mind that this doesn't mean you shouldn't target keywords that aren't clearly linkable. It's just a nice qualifier. So the sixth SEO tip for beginners is to acquire quality backlinks. So I have a super in-depth video about link building on my channel, and I'll share the link below, but let me cover some of my go-to link building strategies. So the first method you should use to promote your linkable asset is to look for resource pages. Resource pages are great for two reasons. First, if your resource page is high quality, you can land a link pretty easily. And secondly, many resource pages are filled with broken links, which means you can use that as leverage. So here's what you do to find resource pages. Go to Google and enter keyword in title colon and then resources. So in this case, I'll use finance in title and then resources. And I'll give you more search strings you can use below this video as well. And then open up each opportunity, and then I highly recommend installing the Check My Links plugin because this will allow you to check these pages for broken links. So once you've installed the plugin, run it to see if these pages have any broken links. So in this case, this lifehack.org article, there are no broken links. So you would just send a traditional outreach template to get your content featured on this resource page. On the other hand, if the page had broken links, you would need to use a slightly different outreach template, and I'll have one below. The next link building strategy is relatively untapped, and I call it the merger technique. Now, before I jump into this strategy, you must first understand what a merger actually is. Investopedia defines a merger as the combining of two or more companies, generally by offering stockholders of one company securities in the acquiring company in exchange for the surrender of their stock. Now, with that intense definition, let me explain it from an SEO perspective. So, from an SEO perspective, a merger occurs when the old brand's website will get 301 redirected to the acquiring company's website. In short, the merger technique is the process of 301 redirecting a relevant domain with a relevant link profile to your website. And the ultimate objective is to increase your site's authority because a stronger website makes ranking much easier. So this strategy simply imitates the process of a big brand acquiring another business. And I came up with the name of this technique because we executed it on one of our clients who acquires data centers across the United States. So every time they acquired a new data center, we would 301 redirect the acquired brand site to their most relevant page on their website. So for example, if they acquired a Dallas data center, we would 301 redirect that website to their Dallas data center page. And within a year, we increased their organic search traffic by 256%. And although these results were awesome, I wanted to make sure it wasn't an isolated event. And that's why I implemented the same exact strategy on Gotcha SEO and several other client sites. For my site, I took an old marketing website and 301 redirected it to a landing page on my site. This redirect pushed the target keyword to the first page. I then did the same exact thing for a local website and grew its organic search traffic by 425%. And if you want an example outside of my own experiences, then I highly recommend you take a look at Neil Patel's link profile. He's acquired a few different companies and merged them with neilpatel.com. This has absolutely exploded his organic search traffic. So you get it. 301 redirects work. But wait a second, not all 301 redirects work, and that's why I didn't want to call this the 301 redirect strategy. The key is to find extremely relevant businesses to acquire. These can either be expired domains or existing businesses. And the good news is you can use tools like DomCop, expireddomains.net, or FreshDrop to find and filter through thousands of expired domains. And I have videos on my channel for all three of these tools, so make sure you check those out. Now, finding expired domains is the easy part, but vetting them is where you need the most skill. And this is incredibly important and not a step to take lightly, because you don't want to redirect a toxic website to yours. You want to make sure it's the highest quality possible. So here's what you need to look for when vetting expired domains. Number one is the link profile. The domain should have high quality links from relevant websites. Number two is the anchor text. The domain shouldn't have any aggressive anchor text use, meaning a high usage of keyword-rich anchor text. And the ideal situation is to find domains that have predominantly branded anchor text. Number three is the link stickability. Links are important, but making sure they actually stick is even more important. In general, links within the body of content are more likely to stick, but links in footers, such as those you see from web design companies or site-wide blog roll links, have a low stickability potential. And another way to ensure that your links stick is how you go about actually redirecting the acquired website. If possible, you should try to redirect individual pages to the most relevant page on your site. And this is far more effective than a full-on site-wide redirect to the home page as far as link stickability and even effectiveness overall. Number four is the domain usage history. Just use archive.org to see how the domain has been used throughout its history. The ideal situation is that the domain should have only been used by one owner and hasn't been used since it expired. This simple process is what led me to acquire a website called minternetmarketing.com, which had many inbound marketing relevant links, such as this one from HubSpot. Now, the vetting process for an existing inactive business is identical. The only difference is how you find these companies. For example, Brian Dean from Backlinks just acquired John Cooper's blog, Point Blank SEO. And this is a perfect example of a proper merger because Point Blank SEO is hyper relevant to Backlinks and it has an incredible link profile. All you need to do is just start digging through your industry and create a list of blogs or companies that aren't updating their website and maybe don't seem to be doing too well. Just use simple search queries in Google like list of topic blogs or city niche companies. You'll need to do a lot of manual analysis to see how active these blogs are, but one thing you can do is use the Check My Links plugin to see if any blogs are dead when you're going through these lists. And once you've identified some targets and vetted their websites, all you need to do is reach out and gauge their interest in an acquisition. So finally, the seventh and final SEO beginner tip isn't actually about tactics. It's about your mindset, which is half the battle in my opinion. Listen, SEO is a long-term game. It is not a get-rich-quick scheme. Making sustainable long-term income is a long-term game. It is not a get-rich-quick scheme. You have to take action and you have to put in the work. So if you're looking to get rich quickly without any work, then A, SEO probably isn't right for you, and B, good luck with that because I haven't met a single legit entrepreneur who hasn't done the work every single day for an extended amount of time. You need to be committed and super patient if you want to be successful in this field. I've personally been running my company for over 5 years and I have worked every single day. Just ask my wife. Success takes a ton of time, but it also takes a lot of consistency. And the truth is, being an entrepreneur isn't for everyone. You have to be willing to take action, fail frequently, and be incredibly patient. And the truth is, everyone achieves what they define as success at different speeds. Some people will get there before you, and that's totally okay. You can only control your situation by taking action. Write out your primary SEO goal, and then when you write out your daily to-do list, just ask yourself if those actions are getting you closer to your goal. And if you believe they are, then take action and learn. You won't always take the right actions, but approaching your day in this manner will accelerate your success. So those are the 7 actionable tips for SEO beginners. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and subscribe to my channel because you'll get first access when I publish a new video. And also, if you have any questions whatsoever, please leave it below and I respond to every single question. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.